Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta CEO. It's very interesting. Did anybody here listen to Mark Zuckerberg's interview on Rogan?
I did.
Yes.
How much of it?
The
You made it.
Yeah. I mean, it was not insightful. It wasn't anything new for anybody
It was,
who had not
Rob,
been...
I watched 45 minutes and I had to stop because I go, oh, this is what this is. I know
That's-
exactly what it
I
was.
couldn't watch it. I was waiting
He's
for
a
the clips.
freaking nerd. He's a nerd.
Yeah, like half of it.
You watched half of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did it come off as a rebranding apology
Yeah.
tour of Facebook, and not to cast any aspersions, but Dana White now on the board of Meta, very close with Joe Rogan, and so this is sort of like a fluff piece, as much of a fluff piece as Rogan is going to put out.
It made me dislike Mark Zuckerberg more after watching this. I actually had forgotten. It got to the point where I've moved on from COVID, right? I didn't lose anybody that died during COVID-19. I lost my career. I was working in radio, had my own night show, was getting ready to move up to mornings, was going to get syndicated across the country on the Beasley Media Group's rock stations. I was going to have a great thing. And then COVID happened. I lost my gig. I worked from home. I ended up linking up with Pat and started working for Valuetainment in 2021. It's been the best thing that ever happened to me. So for me, I look at COVID and I'm like, well, it sucked for a little bit, but it didn't really have lasting impacts on me, so I've moved on. Then I watched this, and it got me freaking angry again, all over again. I'm watching this, and I'm just seething. And it got to the point where I had to shut it off because the episode before Mark Zuckerberg that Joe Rogan did was a great interview. If you want to go and listen to it, he interviews Mel Gibson. They talk a lot about religion, and part of that conversation, and it really made me wake up to my own relationship with God, was listening to Mel Gibson talk about the demons that he has in his life and how he has to overcome them, and he has to accept the fact that he is not strong enough to do it himself. He needs the help of a higher power in order to defeat them.
Amen.
And in his situation, it's drinking. And I really was sitting there, and I'm on the treadmill. I know that that's unbelievable, but I'm on the treadmill, and I'm listening to this, and I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand. And it made me go, maybe I need to reevaluate my relationship with God. So I'm sitting there, I'm listening to that interview, and I'm like, man, that's awesome. And then I get done that, and I'm like, oh, he had Zuckerberg on. Let me go listen to that. And then I got filled with rage, and I'm mad. And I'm in my gym lifting in my garage, and I'm like, I got to get this off. I can't listen to this anymore. I want to play you a few clips. This is the first one. This is Mark Zuckerberg talking about the Joe Biden administration contacting him or Meta during COVID-19, and the administration screaming at him on the phone, cursing at him on the phone or his employees, and then him removing information. But what's interesting is when you listen to this, keep in mind that Mark Zuckerberg is the CEO of Meta. He is the largest shareholder of the company. He makes all of the decisions, and he admits that later in the interview when they talk about Dana White. But listen to him talk about how Joe Biden and the administration tried to censor information, and how his company that he's in charge of, that he's the CEO of, that he founded, although he may have allegedly stolen it from the Winklevoss brothers, he creates this, and listen to him take responsibility for the censorship of COVID-19 information.
Everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who was basically arguing against it.
They didn't. You did.
They pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said,
it's criminality.
you know, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration. I think it was I wasn't involved in those conversations directly, but I think it was
Right there. I wasn't involved in those conversations directly. So your company, you're the CEO, you oversee everything. Can you imagine? That's like PBD saying that the federal government calls Valuetainment and he's not involved in the call. Anybody believe that for 1 second?
No,
appreciate he's a goddamn liar is what he is, because he had been sued by John Stossel or Facebook. They'd been sued by Candace Owens. They had been sued by RFK, Children's Health Defense, for suppressing true stories. because they would, enhance vaccine hesitancy. Then they were having their third-party fact checkers put up fact checks to siphon off traffic from those websites to go to their websites. So it's a load of crap that he was being coerced into doing this. There was undue influence from the government, but this is him trying to wash his hands legally of the responsibility of his liability. And so it's coming out with implausible explanations. Oh, they really twisted. They didn't have to twist your arm too hard, Zook. He did it voluntarily, and now this is not a mea culpa. This is a throw the Biden administration under the bus because they're leaving now to make him look innocent, so that he doesn't have liability for the civil suit.
Of course, and we've said this before, Brandon. Not to cut you off. What do you mean? FBI was in cahoots with all these guys, with Twitter and all of them, telling them, don't put this story out. Don't put the Hunter laptop story out. It's all connected. These sons of bitches are the worst, bro.
He's trying to pretend to be a victim. He was the abuser and not the victim. And this is his way of trying to make himself look like the victim.
But I almost want to put more blame on the government, though, because the Facebook's a super delicate company. And if the government's trying to wield its power in a way to make him do things that they want him to do, they could break that company in 2 seconds if they put certain policies in place. So
Could they? The guy's worth a lot of money.
Facebook's solely dependent on placing ads in certain spots, and if you take away the ability for them to place ads and collect data, then it's pretty much a worthless company.
Yeah, but you're describing the censorship industrial complex, which Elon Musk did not play into, and he found out that Twitter was playing into, which Rumble and Chris Pavlovski
but
didn't
Twitter's
play into.
losing money.
But you said that's where the balance of blame. He doesn't become a victim for willingly participating in that. He becomes a willing participant.
No,
he doesn't deserve to be forgiven.
No, I'm not saying I forgive him, but I'm saying I'm more mad at the government for trying to wield that power in that way, because
nobody is on the right side of this.
No,
on their side, no one. Everybody that's involved censored information that could have helped save lives. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Ivermectin was proven to help people overcome this virus. You look at the low mortality rate among people that look like Vinny and they look like Brandon, low, compared to the high mortality rate of people that look like me.
You're looking pretty good these days, brother. I'm looking at you sideways.
But then I was a risk. I had multiple comorbidities, still do, but that virus could have taken me out if I gotten it. It didn't for healthy people, and they censored that information. And so they not only impacted and censored the free speech that America is built on, they also endangered lives. And then he gets on here and he gaslights because he accepts no responsibility. I wasn't on those calls. But now take a look. This is him talking about, and I don't like this Mark Zuckerberg's cool thing anymore. He's not.
No.
Can we go back to when this guy was getting stuffed in fucking lockers in high school? I guarantee you that Mark Zuckerberg spent more time upside down with his hair in a toilet getting swirlies in middle school than everyone in this room combined, in the whole building, in all Fort Lauderdale. The guy's a nerd. And just because he can pay guys to come in and teach him jujitsu doesn't mean he's a badass. Oh, I can high kick people. Who gives a fuck? I got strong shins, dildo. And you ain't gonna do shit. I hate him. I hate him so much. And this is why. Because look at him. Now he's, I'm cool. I'm with the UFC. And Dana White's on my board. And in this clip, after he just admits that he wasn't on the phone calls from the Biden administration during the biggest health crisis in our lifetimes, he admits he's not on those calls, but then he admits how much control he has over the board and what happens at Facebook.
Okay.
Or Meta.
Beta. Dana White aboard.
Oh, he's awesome. Been talking to him for a while about that. I mean, he's talk about an amazing entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
It's I just want, because I control our company, I have the benefit of not having to convince the board not to fire me.
That's
right?
it. We don't need to play anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't need to consult the board to make any decisions because I control the company. But just in the clip before, you said that you're not in charge of the company when it comes to COVID and the Biden administration.
Do you appreciate also what he just said? Hold on, I'll get to that in a second. The necklace. Mark, did you ask yourselves what was on his necklace?
It's Jewish, isn't it?
I asked Grok, and it says Mark Zuckerberg was wearing a necklace with the pendant engraved with the Jewish prayer Mi Sheberach. Well, I'm trying to make fun of it. Sorry, Mi Sheberach. It says during his prayer. Okay, on Rogan, the prayer is significant to him as he sings it to his daughters every night when he puts them to bed, and it translates to quote, "May we have the courage to make our lives a blessing." This is a little bit of a methinks he doth protesteth too much scenario here. And yeah, he's looking at Dana White and saying he's a great entrepreneur because he built something that was actually of value and not that originated in giving people the free speech to rate women in university. We forget what Facebook was. This guy was never a principled person from the beginning. He was a scoundrel from the beginning. He got caught with his hands in the cookie jar now. Had Kamala Harris won the election, he'd be giving $50 million to
1,000%.
and concealing all of this. He's trying to get in the cool kids club. and it seems to be working.
I'm not, yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys think that Joe Rogan was too soft on him?
Yeah.
I was just gonna go ahead.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I think we should be more pissed off at him. I think, like I said before, I think we should be the most pissed off the government and anybody who's putting that pressure on him because, he is at the mercy of the government. They could have broken Facebook in 2 seconds if they wanted to because that's the only thing he makes money off of, and it's solely dependent on ad revenue and collecting data, so they can regulate that in 2 seconds.
Humberto, you didn't watch it, right?
What I watched the clips, not the
Do
whole
you think
thing.
Rogan was too soft?
Oh, super soft. You know,
Okay.
like they're buddies. And the other thing, I don't know if you're gonna get into it about the TRT conspiracy.
No,
What's the
but
TRT
go
thing?
ahead.
All right. Basically, he was training. He got a big injury, and they put him on TRT.
He
This
said
is-
he tore his Achilles, I believe.
And by the way,
What is
his
TRT?
nose has been broken. By the way.
Testosterone.
Testosterone
His nose has been
replacement.
broken, by the way, so he's not that good of a fighter.
testosterone replacement
Therapy.
Therapy.
Yes.
And that basically changed his hormones and the way he's thinking. The other thing, I can't fully blame him, and Brandon, you can back me up on this. Like, Facebook was never his. You know, there was a lot of investment from the government.
Peter
especially
Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
everybody.
and
And
all those
QTEL, the CIA's
and
venture
QTEL, the
capitalist
CIA.
branch.
So
Thank you, tell.
Yep.
So that's the thing. So they're major investors. Maybe on paper you have him as the majority shareholder, but the government is a big investor. So they're just someone in the they're just making a call because they own it as well.
Yeah.
They killed MySpace.
Well, I think well, first of all, it was Connect You was the Harvard idea that the Winklevis, the brothers. What would you call them? If they're the Winklevi, because there's two of them. The Winklevi.
Winklevi.
Well, if you watch the movie, the
Social
network, Social Network, he took the idea. This is the movie. Took it from them. Okay, and then his friend Eduardo Seven, who's his brother, like his best friend, he put $15,000 in to start the company. He diluted his shares from 34% to 10%. Screwed over his friend. Okay, stole the idea basically, allegedly, from these guys. That's his character. And yeah, the interview was a little bit soft from Joe. But my thing is this: do you guys believe? Because Joe Rogan has said this. He doesn't take recommendations from anybody. He has people on the show who he wants on the show. Do you think because Mark is being smart, he told Dana White, "Hey Dana, I'm gonna put you on the board. Congratulations, blah blah. Can you get me on Rogan?" And Dana called him and said, "Could you have me?"
Well, I think they've done. He's been on before, so this wasn't the first time that Zuckerberg has been on with Joe. From my perspective, I think that Joe. I don't think Joe pushed back as much as I wanted him
What would
to
you have
push
said?
back.
Well, imagine-
but he also isn't that guy. He'll challenge you, but he's not gonna argue with you. He'll do it in a respectful pushback way, and we'll play a clip where he calls Mark Zuckerberg out on all of his bullshit without actually calling Mark Zuckerberg out on all of his bullshit. So I still felt like, okay, you did push back. However, that being said, I'm not as forgiving as Humberto. I'm not as forgiving as Brandon. I am kind of more on the Viva side of things. I'm still angry. I wasn't. Now I'm back to being angry. Now I'm pissed off again, and I don't want to use Facebook or Instagram anymore because I'm back to being angry about what they censored during COVID.
Well, like when the government comes to you and says do something, illegal or violative of the Constitution, we're going to use you as an apparatus of the government. You could do one of two things. One of which is either whistleblow or become a willing executioner. And he became a willing executioner because it was profitable. And I forgot what I was going to say. Now it'll come back in a second.
Yeah, no, it's all
and
good.
it worked because he's worth more money than ever, and he's got like a $10 million bunker that he built on.
Wait, what do you mean? I thought it was like 200 million.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't even know the
I'm gonna
numbers
look
on
it
that.
up.
It's
Go
way
ahead.
more money than
Go
I'll
ahead.
ever have.
But the issue, I remember what I was going to say. This was sort of a fluff piece apology tour, and I bet Dana was not pressured, but felt some pressure because of his relationship with Joe Rogan. But Rogan faced the same backlash when he had Jack Dorsey on, and everybody railed against him for being too easy on Dorsey. When Tim Pool was
And
on.
Dorsey was worse.
And it was objectively worse. But Rogan came out and said afterwards, like, he's a friend of mine. We know each other. I'm not going to be that guy with that interview. I sort of viewed this in the same way. But this really was a rehabilitation tour for Facebook and almost a cover his ass for Zuckerberg to say, I didn't want to do anything. I was coerced and I'm all innocent. And it's the big bad government. And now I want to get in the good books with Trump.
And just to correct you, what was your number for the bunker?
10.
Mark Zuckerberg's underground bunker in Hawaii is estimated to cost over $270 million to build, just to build it, not all the other shit and the maintenance and everything. It's part of a larger compound called Kulao Ranch, which spans 1,400 acres.
You know who else had a wrench?
Now can I
David Koresh.
Now can I say something?
Epstein.
I think Mark Zuckerberg. Oh well, we're gonna play the video first, right?
Yeah, we can play this final one. There's one other clip after this where he calls out Apple and he says Apple hasn't created anything good since the invention of the iPhone. And I just pulled up a list of inventions that Apple has had since the invention of the iPhone. iPhone came out in 2007. And since then, where'd the list go? Here it is. The Apple products that have been released. iPad in 2010, pretty cool. Everybody uses an iPad now. The MacBook Air also in 2010. It was the first ultra thin, lightweight laptop. The Apple Watch, my wife loves that. The AirPods, she also has
Best thing
that.
ever.
Apple Card, the credit card through Apple. The Apple Vision Pro, and now Apple AI. So to say that Apple hasn't created anything, that's just an ignorant comment.
Yes, but Facebook has created ways to fight with friends and family until they block you.
Yeah, that's so funny.
But here is Joe Rogan. I think, and I'd like your guys' opinion after the clip, is this him getting a subtle jab in at Mark Zuckerberg without actually knocking Zuckerberg out?
You have to actually be interested in what you're talking about.
This about they're
That's
talking about
another
TV
thing that
hosts.
They are at a huge disadvantage of in mainstream media. It's like they're just doing that because that's their job. They probably don't even know a lot about climate change. They probably don't really understand too much about what SpaceX is trying to accomplish, but they're just reporting on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's. I mean, a lot of the people I've met there, I think, are good people.
I'm sure
it's just
they
a
are.
tough format.
It's
right?
a
tough
terrible format. Yeah, and the problem is they get locked into that format and no one trusts them. And then they leave and they go, yeah, but you were just lying to us about this, that, and the other thing. And now I'm supposed to believe you're one of the good guys. You're one of the straight shooters now.
Yeah.
Look, I
You
mean,
guys think that was a subtle jab? Was that a knockout blow without actually making
I
contact?
think it was
All right.
subtle.
I'm gonna give Mark a little bit of grace. Like for example, we were talking just about Newsom. There's no chance he will sit down for a podcast with anyone. All right, at least Mark gets to sit down. Maybe scripted, maybe they're friends, maybe whatever. But he does sit down and take a slight jab because I think he might be changing. I'm not sure, but he might be changing his way. The other thing, this changing attitude. Like I've been working on social media, buying and selling media. I started doing things on the internet before Facebook was a thing. All right, so I've been working on the back end of YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter the whole time. And I think since 2012 till now, there hasn't been much innovation on the Facebook side of things. I mean, their DI policies were terrible. So you don't have the top engineers and top brains working there. I think him betting on virtual reality is a good bet. It's a weird bet, but he's dominating that space.
The metaverse?
The metaverse is dominating the space. Like Apple tried and they couldn't get even close in sales. Most people are giving back their Apple Vision Pro.
But who's doing the metaverse? I thought that the
Terrence-
metaverse died.
Terrence are
So
using it.
quickly, to Humberto's point, some of the things that Facebook has created under Mark Zuckerberg, the like button in 2009, that didn't exist. I'm serious. The Messenger, that didn't exist until 2011. Reactions, before you couldn't give smiley faces
This
and
is
hearts.
all trivial
I'm just
rubbish.
I asked the internet, what has Facebook created compared to
but for
Apple?
example,
and there
Oculus,
are software updates that everybody uses
Perverts,
today.
pedophiles.
The poke.
Nobody does that
They
anymore.
took it away. But I think
close?
Marketplace is a tremendous tool.
That's where I buy everything.
I buy everything there, and I think if he's we need to wait. Like I think it's too early. We can't trust him immediately. I can't say he's having a change of mind. But I think maybe 2 or 3 years we will be telling a different story. I like to give him some grace, and I would love for him to come down here and have an interview with Pat, and let's see what he's about. You know,
I don't think Pat would have. Pat would ask him the question.
You can give him grace. He has to
Say it.
apologize.
Pat would make that guy, Mark Zuckerberg, would be like, I can't function.
Which
and
is
his
why he won't do it.
Smoke would come out of his ears.
Exactly.
And the alien that's in there, like, there's a cartoon. Remember in the Men in Black where the guy's head opens up and there's like a little alien that's like, with controls. He has like a little controls. He's like, that guy's in Mark Zuckerberg. That guy's a weird. If you ever, but I don't have time for it now. Go to YouTube or go to X and put Mark Zuckerberg drinking water in comments, and it's literally like this. He's like, water. Let me. He's a weird fucking
Can I
guy.
be honest though? I watched Trump once drink water and it was also awkward. Did you ever see he
Yeah,
grabbed both
he's like-
hands and then
Yeah, he
it
grabbed
was
it with both hands.
Has he never lifted a glass to his own face? I'd like to get to that rich where you never have to even do
Yeah,
anything
he
for
drinks
yourself.
a Coca-Cola can. So he's like, oh, because Trump uses 2 hands because he does everything with 2 hands. He's like, I had to drink it. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.